Good people, we in the building with y'all a little earlier than normal. But for those of you who may not be aware, Playmaker, please advise the good people why they are getting an earlier episode of the Monarchs of Wrestling.
Because Paul decided to do Monday Night Raw live from Pittsburgh, PA at 6 p.m.
Great job, Paul. Oh, and that's not the last time. We're going to talk about Paul today.
Oh, I thought you had more to say on this
no.
this alone. I thought
Oh,
you was coming in full blazing on this one.
Oh, no. We saving all that for when we get to it. We saving all that for when we get to it. We're going to let that fester.
Oh, he got other things he's upset about. Hold on. What other thing you could be upset about? Because I know one thing you're definitely not upset about. I'll save it.
I'm not upset about, but
I'll save it.
Yeah.
But yes, we are on at 4:30 because they want to do Monday Night Raw at 6.
It's all good though. We make it twerk because that's what we do. It's your boy Cool McCain, of course, joined as always by the guy over there, the other half of our royal monarchy, the Playmaker. We in the building. We getting into it. Playmaker, y'all know what we start, big dog. NXT. What you got for us from the NXT side? Oh, by the way, we are doing a moment of the week again, but we don't even have to pull it out because it happened at the end of what we're gonna talk about, or somewhere near the end. So, yeah.
Then we might have two.
It made real easy for us right now.
It might be two moments then. It might be two moments then.
It might be.
If I'm thinking on the same rate that you're thinking, it might be two moments. But for NXT, nothing took place. Man, nothing really took place. Josh Briggs took on Trick Williams for the TNA title. I'm pretty sure you know how that was gonna go. Who is Josh Briggs to be fighting for a world title? I'm sorry that I said it like that, but damn it. You've been focused on being a tag team champion. Why should I believe you're going to be a world champion? Javon Evans, however, took on Travion Heights. Pretty interesting. You got two young studs going at each other, different styles, Made for an interesting match. Very compelling match. Javon Evans came out with the dub. And by the way, your boy Miles Bourne. See, we let him slide by, dating Stephanie Vaquer. Yeah, your boy, he trying to get cool with the Playmaker. He trying to get cool with me. I don't know if you saw what he was doing. He was talking to two players on the floor of the Gators. And was hyping them up.
For you, sir. That will do it for you.
He was trying to hype them up. It's like that damn Miles Bourne. You're trying to make me like you. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me like you. It might be working. But yeah, Miles Bourne, he's trying to get him on a good side. Now, here's a matchup that I didn't expect to see anytime soon. Asante Diadonis going against Ricky Saints. There was no rhyme or reason to have this match. They just do this match together. Nothing happened in the previous weeks for this happened. They just do it together. And what has Asante Diadonis done ever since he broke up with Carmen? You know why you ain't getting no response? Because he's done nothing since breaking up with Carmen. Nothing whatsoever. So you know who won the match. Now, sir, I think this is where you want to start to get the juices flowing here. I think this is what you was waiting on. We had to run it back. Tony D'Angelo and Stacks. This time for the Heritage Cup. The NXT champion over him came to ringside. Interesting. But does this match show that he's going to have a new challenger? Even though it's for a Heritage Cup, which is championship that he can't stand at this moment in time.
Yeah, the champion got hurt, so they had to do a match. Stacks already had was the number one contender, so Tony D'Angelo was the guy he has to face for the new champion because there's going to be a new champion. I mean, it's not like you could just take the Heritage Cup. Let me just one crazy thing. I'm not saying something about the Heritage Cup after that. It's not like you can't take the cup and make a championship belt and just put the cup on the front of it, right? Like form the front plate into like a cup, like the Heritage Cup, or make a front plate and then do like WWE did with the big WWE logo and just put the Heritage Cup in the middle. Not like you could do something like that and just make it an actual championship instead of carrying around a trophy like you in the dead blame NBA or NFL or something, not WWE. But I'm gonna let it go after this because they clearly think it's a great idea to have a cup. And people fight over a dad blame cup. Is there any other promotion that has a dad blame cup for you to fight over? You know why? Because it's stupid. That's why. It's stupid.
Okay. Cool tangent number one. Already come. And that was unplanned. So I'm looking forward to the planned one this way. Oh boy. All right. So apparently Stats has some henchmen. I'm gonna use what Beach Report said. Generic henchmen. I love Beach Report for that one. I love Beach Report for that.
Definitely it. They were generic. That is an accurate depiction.
Thank you. Thank you, Bleach Report, for that one. Oh man, when I saw that, I had to laugh. I was like, damn. The level of disrespect is real. But I don't blame him. Nevertheless, just like what happened at Stand and Deliver, a certain person got involved and screwed everything up for Tony D'Angelo. Cusafino did it again. Stats wins. Stats is the Heritage Cup champion. And the Don has had enough of Cusafin. He is sick and tired of the family. So I feel like Tony D'Angelo is off to go on his own now. Now that you got your first tangent out of the way, anything you want to say about this whole situation? Outside of that trophy.
It ain't going to be a tangent, but I want to say you got to change the character if you're not going to have flunkies. You can't be a Don and then there's no family. So let's get a new character for Tony D'Angelo and let's go with it because the Don thing was not going to work on the main roster anyway. So got to get rid of it. Give him a new character.
All right. And then the main event of TNA, of NXT, should I say. We need to have a definitive winner who can challenge for the women's NXT championship at Evolution. Fatal 4-way. Jordan Grace. Izzy Dane. Jada Parker.
Hey, Miss Parker.
And Lash Legend. First one to get a pinfall or submission moves on to Evolution as the number one contender. Things got interesting. You have two powerhouse. Do we consider Miss Parker a powerhouse?
I don't know if I consider a powerhouse, but I definitely consider Power Cakes a powerhouse. Miss Jordan Grace Power Cakes herself.
Yeah, Jordan Grace and Lash Legend, we called them powerhouses. I was trying to figure out if we were going to add Jada Parker into that echelon. That's all. I was just asking.
I just got to throw this up there. I know we ain't in the comments yet, but good afternoon, Mr. Cole Johnson. He says Jada Parker, and for those who are listening, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cakes. So he's saying Jada Parker's cake. And then he also resounds the same thing with one Miss Lash the Legend. Kicked up Lash the Legend. It's not Lash the Legend no more. It's Lash the Legend.
Anyway,
Legendary cakes.
even with all the cakes that are involved in this match, Zarya, Soruko, and Tatum Paxley all made their way to the ringside. Very interesting because
Bringing more cakes.
Tatum Paxley is trying to be friends with Easy Dane, which is weird within itself. And then you have Zarya and Soruka trying to be friends with Tatum Paxley, so they pick up Tatum Paxley and they take her out from ringside. It was a very interesting situation that happened between them, which leads to the one and only Juggernaut getting the 1, 2, 3 win, pinning Easy Dane, and Jordan Grace is going to Evolution to fight for the NXT Championship.
I mean, it had to be the Juggernaut, right? Like you looked at it had to be the Juggernaut.
If not now, then when? Right?
Exactly. Blake Monroe got to have somebody that she really got to fight to win some championships.
So yeah, that was pretty much NXT. Not nothing too big, not nothing too crazy. Very short and sweet to the point.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we normally do a break, but we're gonna roll right into TNA and then we'll take a break. Since it's NXTNA anyway, we might as well do it that way. All right, so we had some interesting matches actually on TNA. You know, they're kind of building up the Slammiversary. Still a little time to go, but they're starting to build up a little earlier because they don't wait until the last minute all the time, right? WWE, AEW, I might want to notice this. They actually have the card pretty much set a week or two before, and not just 3 days before the pay-per-view or PLE, depending on what company you are. All right, so first point of emphasis: next week we're gonna have a match between Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. So that's coming up. Killer Kelly says she's taking that belt from Masha Slamovich. Very interesting. So we're gonna have a fatal four-way at Slammiversary. We're gonna have the Nemeths, Nick and Ryan, versus the Rascals. Well, yeah, the Rascals, the Hardys, and First Class in a four-way ladder match. So tonight, Ryan Nemeth and Zachary Wentz have a match. Zachary Wentz wins. They don't want any piece of the Rascals after the match either. Trick Williams says that AJ Francis is going to be victorious in the street fight against Mike Santana. That's the main event tonight. The aforementioned match between Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly is going to be a chain match. Well, that's what she's asking for. Ariana Gray says there's something big in the works, so it'll probably be a chain match or something more ridiculous. But we'll see how that pans out. Next, they had the Battle Royal, where the winner is going to be the one to challenge the champion at Slammiversary. Whoever's the champion at Slammiversary, I'm assuming they say a future World Championship match, but that says Slammiversary to me. I don't know about y'all, but it says Slammiversary to me. So, long story short, the winner of the match, and this will tick off one Mr. Cole Johnson, was his favorite knockout, Ash by Elegance. After the match, Masha Slamovich is on her way to the ring. And then JC Jane makes her presence felt. So that's a little interesting. Jake something is
Why is the
attempting to.
NXT champion showing up on TNA?
Why do we see that? Because the NXT champion, because the TNA champion is an NXT person. So TNA, like, if you're gonna do that, champions need to be on our show helping with ratings. Thank you very much. That's the honest reason. We'll see what the storyline reason is, but that's the honest reason.
I don't need the women's champion showing up on TNA at this moment in time.
I'm just telling you why.
You already got enough problems as it is.
That's the question. Give you an honest answer.
I get the answer. I'm not disagreeing with the answer. I'm just saying you have enough problems. As it is. You have a Blake Monroe who I dearly love so much on your heel, and then you just find out the Juggernaut is the number one contender. So you might want to have your thoughts somewhere else than TNA right about now. Just me.
My thoughts are definitely with Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace, for sure. All right, so Order 4, Mustafa Ali and John Skyler are having their call to arms match. They both will have a hand tied to the rope. Um, Whoever gets untied first has an advantage, and then the winner is decided by pinfall or submission. Ali uses some scissors to get free. Um, Skyler then sends him to the floor, and his compatriots actually give him the scissors, and he's able to cut it so he can break loose. Tasha steals hides the evidence so no one sees it. Ali ends up beating um, Skyler with the top rope 450 after he choked him with the rope. After the match, Ali is about to hit everybody with a chair when we finally get the debut of Cedric Alexander. So, is he taking over Order 4, renaming him or something? Or what's going on there? We'll find out, but he ends up staying in the ring with them, the rest of Order 4. Matt Cardona steps up to the system backstage. We'll see how that works out for him. Everybody else gets beat down. He'll probably will too, but we'll see how that works out for him. So the Hardys have a match with the Northern Armory, which is Judas Icarius and Travis Williams, for those who might know. Of course, the Hardys win because they've been around forever and they've been burying talent for the last 10 years. So, nothing new. They call out Leon Slater after the match. He's challenging Moose, looking to become the youngest X Division champion of all time. And that'll be at Slammiversary. Uh,
Okay. So we just gonna just keep Moose at the mid card level all of a sudden when he's been like the TNA champion or dominant TNA champion, but we just gonna keep him at the mid card level all of a sudden.
Apparently so,
What,
sir.
what are we doing, Tommy Dreamer?
Tommy took too many headshots over his career. Um, Leon Slater joins the announce team. Moose has a match against Jack Painter and Shane Saber. Moose wins this match, of course. Leon Slater stops Moose from beating up those two guys further. Um, Now we have Mike Santana, AJ Francis, street fight main event. Um, a lot of back and forth. We know who won the match, right? Mike Santana. No disrespect to AJ Francis, right? But they love Mike Santana. After the match, he says that he's coming after the TNA World Championship. He wants his shot in New York City at Slammiversary. So next week, we've got Matt Cardona versus Eddie Edwards, Masha Slamovich versus Kelly Kelly in the chain match for the Knockouts World Championship. Nick Nemeth is going to be against Trey Miguel next week. The Inspiration against Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. And then Jake Something versus Mance Warner have been announced as of now. So TNA does a good job, I will say this, of building towards their pay-per-views, premium live events. They really take that time, like everyone used to. This was something that used to happen. And Playmaker, you can follow me with this. Back in the day, you knew the card was set like 2 weeks in advance, and you could fill out the storylines. You could let other people have matches. You didn't have to sit there and just wait for like 2 days before to know what's going to happen. But in this world that we live in now, most wrestling promotions, they kind of make you wait for all the matches to the last minute. So kudos to TNA for just saying we're going to start setting up stuff, 3-4 weeks ahead of time. And, build some actual anticipation, because you can market it and make the rivalries matter if you know ahead of time. If you don't, you can't. So AEW, WWE, I'd like for you guys to take a moment and understand how that goes. We're gonna hit our chat, and then we are going to hit a commercial break. Before any of that, shout out to Real Wise Radio, where your boys are on live, holding it down. All right, so first comment, Key, checking in with the homies. Key says, "Hola, cool and playmaker. What up, Key?" Key also says, "Ashanti the Adonis stinks. Wrestling wise, definitely. Body odor wise, I don't know, but possibly." See, we go ahead and throw it out there while we're doing it. Key also has this little laugh out loud, probably my rant. Cole, as expected, says TNA is
Oh, my
making me throw up.
sarcasm is going over 10 over NXT.
Yeah. TNA is making me throw up with another Ash by Elegance appearance. Key
But
says
I
that
thought you liked it as by elegance, Mr. Johnson.
you know that dude can't stand her. Key says that's Sean for you. I'm gonna say this, Key. The heritage crap was there before him, so I'm not gonna fault him for it because he's brought in 2/3 of the cakes that are there. So I'm gonna give him a pass. But he could have changed it if he
I'm
went to his
surprised Cole ain't come back on.
Paul.
I'm surprised he
Okay.
ain't come back and cuss me out yet for that.
It might be coming. Cole says, "Otherwise, good afternoon, Monarchs, and good
Yeah,
afternoon."
instead of good evening, it's good afternoon. Thanks a lot, Paul. That's my only one I'm doing. That's your thing. So
Oh, it's all good. I think we get some for me. Cole says, "Freedom feels so good. The struggle ain't real to be joyful."
yeah, that's because somebody on a freaking sabbatical for the next 10 days.
Oh boy. Keaton says, "Do you think he gets his own family?" I don't think so, Key, because
Who you gonna bring in?
I think the family thing's a little, yeah.
And
He
especially after
could,
what happened. Especially after what happened at Night of Champions, how many more people they gonna bring in?
yeah, Stacks could, but yeah. He could just get his old family back and add his nameless, faithless guys.
Leave it to Cole Johnson to tie two things together. Leave it to Cole Johnson.
Cole says, "Tony D'Angelo is a Don without a family, and now Roman Reigns is a chief without a tribe." We talked about his cakes. Key with the Miss Parker, and the triple cakes. And I think they frosted too. Then Key hits us with the. Is that the fire emoji? No, that's the.
That is not fire. The hell
Oh,
you got that from?
what is that one? I can't
That was
tell
a
what
good
that one
question.
is.
It does
I
look
can't
weird
tell
on
what
the
that one.
screen, so
Yeah, it's kind of low on the screen. I can't tell what that one is. I'm sure it's something entertaining. We'll figure that one out and come back to it. Cole says, "Do you believe they're going to give Jordan the NXT championship or send her to the main roster after Evolution?" It would be better to give her the championship and let her get a run in NXT, so that when they do send her to the main roster, they can say former NXT champion Jordan Grace is now on the main roster on SmackDown. But we'll see. Cole says AJ Francis is starting to grow on me. TNA agrees with him. I kind of agree with that. And then Key, you mean for this? She says not.
Key. You know what, Key? Guess what? He actually recreated that, and he actually landed this time.
Oh.
And he was talking trash about it.
Cole says, "I hope TNA doesn't waste Mike Santana. There's some potential in his singles run. If they put the championship on him, they're not wasting him. If they don't put a championship on him, it's a waste. So we're going to see how they do it, because it took them forever to put it on Joe Hendry. He should have had that joint a year before he got it. Like, what is you really doing?" So let's see. He then says that name will forever live with him. Oh boy.
If Michael Cole around, yeah.
And then there's a couple other ones here. So let me get back to those. So Cole says it's Cole Key flop dollar with the laughs. Then Key hits the laugh. Cole comes and says, so City ain't going to AEW, poor Hurt Syndicate. That's why they got Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Got MJF. And they hurt me. Key says that name will forever live for him again. Then she says yams. And there are yams. And yams are one of my favorites. Fluffy three-letter cakes, yams, all those things. Those are some of my favorite things.
No comments.
All right, y'all. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. And we're going to talk about what happened on AEW. It's a little interesting. We'll talk about it. We shall talk about it. Let's go.
Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kurt the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on YouTube and where you can find podcasts. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Bobby J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
All right, good people. We are back in the building. It is time to wrap up good old AEW. So, let's start. All right. So I guess the place to start is at the beginning, right?
You think?
Mercedes Moné did interrupt Timeless Toni Storm's entrance. She mocked her and then locked her in the statement maker.
Okay, Mercedes.
Mina Shirakawa, Toni Storm's part-time boo or whatever, kind of had to come out and help with the official. The games began line back at Toni Storm, who had threw the line at her. So that's a little interesting. It does show that anything can happen on the road to All In. I was gonna say RN, All In. Then we got Will Ospreay and Blake Christensen. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland against Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. So let me tell you real quick what makes this important. This match was supposed to be the main event, but the Young Bucks, the founding fathers, they're calling themselves now, came out after that and said, "Oh, we're gonna flex our power." Basically, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, your match is next. Blake Christian and Lee Johnson strolled out because they knew it was happening, but Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, about an hour and 20 minutes before they expected to wrestle, so they don't get a chance to warm up and do all those things. They had to have a match, right? Long story short, we know who won the match. But what's interesting is what happened after the match.
Oh boy, this should be good.
They said that they want to have Swerve and Ospreay said they're sick of the Bucks and their BS. They want a tag team match against Nick Jackson pay-per-view, and they want them to put their EVP titles on the line. And they said if they're not these and they have, if people afford to, they'll do it. So we'll see if the Bucks do not immediately reply. The tag team match I like that could work. So that should be an interesting match for All In, because it'll eventually happen. It's just how they'll make it happen. And then we're seeing Swerve for the week without pay for putting his hands on an official. What happened was he did a dive, and the official was included in the dive. So instead of responding to that, that's all that they said. All right, then we had a match between Kota Ibushi and Trent Beretta. If you're not someone that watches in New Japan, different things like that, they did a little hype video to kind of try to hype the match. But Kota Ibushi beat Trent Beretta. Not a surprise. Beretta's another person that's in the Don Callis family. We have a lot of people there now. But they don't have many championships. And AEW has a lot of championships, so they need to do something about it. A lot of championships. Just they talked about the Golden Lovers and all that. Okada then introduced the Young Bucks to Don Callis family. Takeshita stepped up to the Rainmaker, got in his face, and told him the alliance is temporary. They just want to make sure Omega loses the belt. We had a match next with Jet Speed, Ricochet, and then he got AR Fox to be. Of course, Jet Speed is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, two completely different guys, but they work well together in the ring. Make a long story short, Ricochet was a coward and walked out on AR Fox, who he brought into the match. This cowardly heel for Ricochet is working out well. AR Fox tried to step to him on Collision. Jumping over to the other show real quick. But what happened was he found him some backup in the Gates of Agony. They're doing nothing since not being called for this week. So they're apparently going to be his muscles. So we'll see how that works out. After the match, the Hurt Syndicate came out because Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey called out for a World Tag Team Championship shot, and then got beat down by Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. And they say they hurt people. They hurt people. MVP said that they can have a match, but they can still walk after that beat down. So apparently they can still walk because they'll have a match. MJF has a Casino Gauntlet qualifier on this coming week's episode 300 of AEW. Dynamite. And then if you win that, you go to the gauntlet match, and you have a chance at the AEW World Championship. If talks too much, they have to find a way to rein him in the Hurt Syndicate. Syndicate's all about. Then he tried to get into like a verbal attack with Mark Briscoe, and it was like, that's personal stuff. This is, we do business with the Hurt Syndicate. So yeah, that happened. The segment worked because Mark Briscoe came out to tell MJF he needed to shut up, and that the people in the back asked him to come out because he's got a match and they're in the way. They were clowning how Mark Briscoe never wins his matches. He's going to lose this one as well. MJF used some choice words. Mark Briscoe said that the word of the day is empathy, and said that MJF's mean and hurtful comments came from a deficiency in his kosher pickle. Yeah, that's what he was talking about. So it got a little funny. All right, there was a 4-way for the number one, for the first spot in the men's casino gauntlet. The first spot, the first two, because it's just the first pin. It doesn't matter if everybody's there or not. So it was Mark Briscoe, Roderick Strong, Bandito, and the aforementioned Konosuke Takeshita. After being laughed at about losing, of course, Mark Briscoe won. So he's the number one in the casino gauntlet match. All right. So then, of course, we Thunder Rosa, Athena, and then Willow Nightingale. Chris Statlander won. So she's the first person in the women's gauntlet match. I don't like that they have the Ring of Honor champions fighting for opportunities for the AEW championships, because it's basically devalued the Ring of Honor championship. So, Antonio, I need you to get off of a little bit of that tornado powder, because you wilding. All Ring of Honor trying to get AEW championships. Have a Ring of Honor championships then. Fold them in. That's what separation is key to having value, and you clearly have had too many tornadoes to remember or understand that. All right, so Adam Page, the Hangman, had a match against the Beast Mortos, who's getting a lot of love these days. A lot on and off.
There's only one reason why.
Hangman won with a buckshot. They're getting a lot of love off the camera too. I'm just saying. But you,
there's one reason why.
You get a lot of love off the camera too. After the match, the lights went off.
He's dating one of the two hottest things that's going on in AEW.
Trigger on Hangman Adam Page, solidifying the fact that they are no longer in any way, shape, or form associated with him, with Hangman Adam Page. So the Death Riders came, and John Moxley had Hangman choking him over the ropes with a steel chain. The Ops and Will Ospreay ran him off, but they put a little damage to him, and it was a pretty good match. It was not a bad overall show. It was one of those that you kind of know a lot of things weren't so disclosed of AEW Dynamite, which is really big. If you really think about it, it's kind of big. Everybody doesn't get to that many episodes. They've announced a couple of matches. We're not going to really go through all that. We're just going to simply say that tune in for episode 300 for AEW. Maybe we'll have some changes, Some things will be a little different this week, and we'll be able to see a good time. But that's definitely what is popping. So we got some more comments here. We'll go through those, take a break, and then we'll come with a little something, something. All right, so he says the emojis were yams. Got you. Cole says the Hurt Syndicate. We hurt people and talk you to death. Yeah, the addition of MJF has definitely made segments longer than they need to be with the Hurt business. They got to figure out the Hurt Syndicate. Excuse me. They got to figure out a way to complement that. Luke says, "Are you watching WWE today?" I'm on Netflix at 6 o'clock. Definitely.
You just
He says that's what the emojis are. Yeah, I saw it, so I figured I'd just knock them both out one quick go. You know what I'm saying? Cole says Swerve and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. Let's get the Olympic gymnastics judges to sit at ringside to judge the festivities. In all fairness, Cole, that is the actual factual, logical statement about that, to be honest, because there's going to be a lot of gymnastics. There's 4 gymnasts in there. There's going to be a lot of gymnastics. Because Swerve is one of those African-American gymnastics people, definitely. Like dude, like Swerve, but he can be gymnastical if you put him with the right people. And this is definitely a time he's going to be gymnastical. Cole also says, is it just me, or is this Okada versus Omega build-up rather underwhelming? It's not just you, sir. It's so underwhelming, I've lost any semblance of concern or care for who wins in 2 weeks. Great job, Tony. Cole says, Mark Briscoe popped Bobby Lashley with the kosher pickle bar. No, that was for MJF. No, yeah, that was for MJF, sir. Luke says, where do I watch WWE today? We answered that Netflix, where you always do. Yolanda says, but hey, anyway. Maybe I missed the comment she put earlier. I didn't see anything. But she says,
no.
But hey, anyway. I guess because we on earlier than normal. Hello, Yolanda. We are glad to have you grace us with your presence.
Talk to Paul on that one.
That's all Paul, as usual. Cole says Monet is changing mortals. Apparently, I mean, if your boo in the same company as you want him to get some opportunities, right? Get some bigger checks, so he can spend that money on you. Cole says, I like Heyman, but saddling him with Moxley, a boring match is coming. Oh, it's absolutely going to be the opposite of a barn burner. And the loser in that match is going to be everyone who pays to watch that. Y'all better find a free site, because that's not going to be a good main event either. Because all John Moxley want to do is ground and pound at this point in his career. And Cowboy, if you put him up against somebody who's a good wrestler, he'll wrestle with him. You put him up against somebody who just want to fight, he'll fight with him. And then Cole says, I know Briscoe's job was for MJF, but Lashley laughed when he said, oh, I got you. He did. I got you. My bad, Cole. Misinterpretation on your boy part. Yolanda says, I said how y'all going to start and not tell me ahead of time.
We're going to read it again. Talk to Paul on that
one. That's all Paul. Not us. Paul thing.
He the one chose to start Monday Night Raw at 6.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of our new additions here to the show is our legendary wrestler of the week. This week we are doing Soul Man Rocky Johnson. I want to kind of switch it up with some different people. He was billed at 6'2", 243 pounds. From Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He was actually born in Amherst, Canada. He lived to 75. Of course, we all know he is the father of one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And why he got the name Rocky Maivia was Rocky from his dad, and then Maivia from his grandfather, High Chief Pete Maivia. Rocky Johnson, of course, married into the family. He was married to a couple of different women. He was married to Una Johnson, his first wife, in 1966. That marriage ended in 1978. And then that's when he married Atta, who is The Rock's mother. They were married from 1978 to 2003. And then he married Dana Martin. They were married from 2004 to 2020. So Rock had a couple of ladies. He won a lot of titles in the National Wrestling Alliance. He was the first black NWA Georgia heavyweight champion, as well as the first black NWA television champion. His birth name was Wayne Douglas Bowles. He won the WWF Tag Team Championships with Tony Atlas in 1983. Became the first black champions in WWE history. He won the television championship 2 times. So make sure I put that out there. He has several children, but the one to focus on, of course, is The Rock, because that's the one that's, in the spotlight. A lot of times you have a lot of children and you're wrestling and things like that. You have a couple that may follow, but most just want to kind of chill. He retired in 1984. 2004, by the way. I don't know where 1984 came from. I'm tripping. He was trained by Peter Maivia, Rocky Bowley, and Kurt Von Steiger. So those are the 3 people that trained him. If you know wrestling history, these are guys that did not play. He changed his legal name to Rocky Johnson shortly after he debuted because he kind of, I guess, liked the name better. He got a name from the mixture of Rocky Marciano and Jack Johnson, 2 of the people that he liked a lot. Jack Johnson was the first black heavyweight boxing champion. He started in 64. He wrestled for several independent things and in the National Wrestling Alliance during that time. He was in the Mid-Atlantic during that time frame, as well as Sweet Ebony Diamond. So that's how they used to do us back in the day, Sweet Ebony Diamond. He was in the WWF from 1982 to 85. He had feuds with people such as Don Morocco, Greg Valentine, Buddy Rose, Adrian Adonis. Then, of course, the tag team with Tony Atlas. They beat, ironically, the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika, for the tag team championships. And their name was, of course, the Soul Patrol. He left WWE now, WWF at the time, in 85 in June. Then he wrestled in Tennessee, Hawaii, Portland, Puerto Rico, and different places. He had a brother, Ricky, who also was a part-time wrestler, and he teamed with him in Hawaii. Him and Pat Patterson trained The Rock. He let him know that if he trained him, he was going to basically dog his hind-parts, and he did. So what's important about him? Obviously, The Rock's dad, right? Championships. He was an NWA World Tag Team Champion 4 times with Ben Justice. Championship wrestling from Florida. He was a brass knuckles champion, Florida heavyweight champion 6 times, Florida Tag Team Champion 1 time with Pedro Morales, and an NWA Florida Television Champion 1 time. In the Continental Wrestling Association, he was a Southern Tag Team Champion 2 times with Jimmy Valiant and Soul Train Jones. Now, him and Soul Train Jones, it would have made sense for their name to be what? The Soul Patrol. But even back in the day, they'd be tripping. Georgia Championship Wrestling, he was the heavyweight champion 2 times, tag team champion 1 time with Jerry Briscoe, Macon tag team champion with Danny Little Bear. In the International Championship Wrestling Alliance, he was a tag team champion with Crash the Terminator. International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, class of 2025 with Tony Atlas. So posthumous designation there. Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, class of 2022. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, he was a television champion twice. NWA All-Star Wrestling Canadian Tag Team Champion with Don Leo Jonathan. He had some other championships too, a lot of NWA championships in the different promotions. The reason I kind of went through as much as I did is I want people to understand, like for those of us who don't watch everyday wrestling or didn't watch wrestling territories back in the day and only know about like NWA, the main one, right? And then like WWF, WCW, things like that. There were a lot of other promotions, and a lot of guys had shorter stints in like WWE or WCW, but they did a lot in the territories. Did a lot to get people in different areas involved in wrestling and broke a lot of barriers. And Soul Man Rocky Johnson, besides being The Rock's dad, one of the things that I really liked about him is he was the first black guy to do a lot of different things, win a lot of different championships. So he broke that barrier of, people of color, well, black people, let me say, getting those championships. And to me, very significant, right? And not just in WWE or WWF at the time, but all around the different promotions he worked at, all around the different places he went. And the promotion era was different because you got more championships because you had the different places you could go, so you could be a champion here, here, and here. Kind of like think about it like this: if Mercedes Moné didn't work for AEW, but she was going around and getting all those championships, that's the type of thing a lot of those people were doing back in the day. So shout out to him. Wanted to give him flowers on here because he's one of the guys that I really, when I was young, I kind of saw him like, oh, dude looks like me. He's a wrestler. He actually got a championship, right? You didn't see that a lot. So it was cool for me to see. And it kind of made me be like, oh, I can kind of really care about wrestling because I'm one of those people. I got to see people look like me doing stuff to really like it registered with me, especially when I was a kid. So that was something that Soul Man did. So I want to throw out a little bit of what Soul Man was about. Hit these comments real quick, and then it'll be time for us to get to WWE. And some of these comments might be slightly spoilers because sometimes our dudes, our people get a little bit ahead of it, but we'll work with it. So Cole says, I want to hear what you have to say about Paul. Oh, I have a few things to say about Paul. Yolanda says, I didn't know that either. So, all right. And then Cole says, Paul and Nick Khan decided to telecast Raw early tonight so they can tape SmackDown after the show ends. They're giving them the 4th of July off. They could have taped SmackDown and then did Raw. So I don't give them any praise for this poppycock that they're doing. Cole also says, I told you Paul was going to book Cody Rhodes versus John Cena again for SummerSlam. I'm smelling a possible double turn coming. We'll talk about that. Cole also says, Rocky Johnson broke just about every color barrier with the exception of the company champion. It does highlight how WWE, NWA, AWA, and others weren't ready to give a black guy the #1 title. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, Cole, it's kind of like you got to crawl before you walk. Just him getting titles. He did get some heavyweight championships along the way as well, but it's about being the first to do it. That was the thing with me with him. He was the first to get championships in a lot of those places. And yeah, it wasn't the big belt everywhere, wasn't their main championship, but he had some championships, and that's important too, because if they're never going to give you the mid card titles, they're never going to give anybody look like you the main titles. So you saw a little bit of both sides of it. It's decided for me is if you want to see the cup half empty or half full. I saw the cup as half full, so that's how I looked at it. But I was also a little mad, like, why he the first? Like, what you mean? But that's another story for a whole nother day. Yolanda says, I know The Rock's grandma was the ish when it came to wrestling. I found out a lot watching the Young Rock series. I've never actually watched that, Yolanda. Possibly. I probably should put it on my list. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, a lot of times they do put good info when they do shows like that. So, good people, we are going to take another commercial break real quick. When we return, it will be time to talk WWE. hang in with us. Hey, anybody else that might want to see this, talk about this, hear about this, make sure you go ahead and send them the link real quick. Tell them to hop on. It's about to get good. Real good. Trust me.
Whether it's the men's college game,
The way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
the women's college game,
And how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
the WNBA,
AJ Wilson on Twitter 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young,
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
All right, guys, so we are back in the building. And we've got a comment here. And hopefully we'll be getting the Playmaker back in a minute. So Cole says, yeah, Yolanda, the High Chief Peter Maivia and his wife are both beloved by the wrestling community. The respect they had for the High Chief got extended to his wife out in Hawaii. Yeah, definitely. I think she was one of the major bookers, too, if I remember from something I was reading about them back in the day. So what we going to do here, y'all? I'm going to talk for Oh, he back. Oh, I was about to say it off. Go ahead, sir. I was about to say it off. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry if you were looking forward to hearing from me about Monday Night Raw. I'm not talking about Raw. I am skipping Monday Night Raw. I'm going straight to SmackDown.
Do your thing. You want one of the 8,000 championship matches on SmackDown that could have been on Night of Champions?
See, this is what I said. When they made the announcement of Julia versus Selena Vega, what did I say, Kuma Gang?
You said Julia will win.
Guess what happened on SmackDown?
Julia
won.
What
Your
did I
new
say?
United States champion, Julia.
And what did I say, Playmaker? I said, if you're going to give her the championship right out the bat, where are you going to put her after that? If you're going to give her the United States championship right out the bat. So, see, this is the problem with Paul. You letting her come out and win a championship right off the bat, the mid-card championship. Right? I don't have a problem with her winning. But my logic was, why let her win so early when you know 6 months from now, we ain't going to even hear from Julia for months, whether she got a championship or not, because that's how Paul does people. So my thing is, why not build her up the correct way? We know she's already a star, she's already known, but why not build her up to WWE fans who may not have seen her in other places before you actually put a championship on her? Why? Because that takes you actually planning out and making a long-term plan for somebody. And Paul doesn't seem to be doing that for too many people these days.
Skip around a bit. Warren Killings, you bleeped up, sir. You bleeped up. Alistair Black let you go the previous week for being disrespectful. And then you did it again on Friday. So Alistair Black had to put you to sleep with a black mask. Get your boy, man. He's bleeping up right now. He so tunnel vision on John Cena, he create enemies everywhere. Get your boy, man. Get your boy. Listen, get your boy, man.
Hey, he ain't gonna be happy till they come back to get him. He ain't gonna be happy. He ain't gonna be happy.
Get your boy. Street Profits versus the Wyatt Six for the WWE Tag Team titles. We came on this program, and what did we say need to happen for iBoys to keep those titles?
We said it had to be a whole heck of a lot of interference.
Every single team on the SmackDown roster made sure that the Wyatts didn't get those titles. Now the interesting thing is, how does Uncle Howdy respond to the tag team division rising up against the Wyatt Six now?
We know what should happen.
Oh, educate the people what should happen, sir.
Should be some beatdowns coming, and teams should be disappearing.
Prolong the NL. That's all y'all doing, which works for us. Because y'all did exactly what y'all wanted y'all to do. Every tag team says no. Y'all are the ones that don't deserve the titles. We don't want you with the title. No. But yes, prolong the NL, because at some point in time, the Wyatts will get the title.
You can only stop it for so long.
But this is a good start. This is a very good start.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So last one standing match for the women's championship. Tiffany Stratton defending against Nia Jax. How many people you know that can go through what Tiffany go through and still win that match?
Super Cena used to do that.
I say how many people?
Yeah, Super Cena. Trying to think if there was anybody else.
Cena built like a brick wall.
I mean, I'm just answering the question that you asked. You asked the question. Just answering the question.
And you only gave me Cena, like who is?
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Roman Reigns at times.
What Nia Jax did to Tiffany Stratton, there should be no in the world Nia Jax should not have won that match.
But just probably less than 10 people to answer your question that I can think of. I ain't gonna go through the whole list just for time, but less than 10 people.
And now I'm put it as a woman, because Tiffany Stratton survived this match.
Right. Well, we knew that. She can only lose to Naomi. Proceed with caution.
I'm guessing so, because
nobody else can beat her.
Tiffany got her behind tore up by Nia Jax.
But we always talk about what's important is if you get the dub.
Man,
not how bad your hump got beat before you got it. And she got a dub.
And ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to moment of the week. Do you have that ready, sir?
I do have that ready, sir. You know how it goes whenever you want to put stuff up. You know how it goes. There you go.
Basic punkonomics. If you remember the previous week, John Cena, dropped the pipe bomb with CM Punk laying through a table in the ring. That was our moment of the week last week. And so to counter that, with John Cena in the ring, he did his stick. Very good sticker on this one. Very good stick. That was a good way to back up pipe bomb. You have to admit that. And then you just heard what the world? And they go to the Jumbotron, and then it says Punk Life.
This is basic punkonomics.
What? Wow.
And that dude came out with a Chicago Cubs jersey. The chain.
He came out with a black Chicago Bull hat turned sideways.
Then he had the Punk Life.
He had a Chicago Cubs throwback jersey on, number 13 with his name on the back of it. Some
the Cubs
jorts on. Sneakers with the knee pads at the ankles. And then he had the ring that said drug free. And he had the chain lock too. I said, wow. This is beautiful. You can't get better than this. And basically he says, this is basic punkonomics. You stole pipe bomb from me, so I stole word life from you. Them two.
It was interesting.
Them two there. Back-to-back weeks. Was just great.
But as I watched it, I did have to say, we know who's winning that match now for 100% for sure.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. Even
not that we didn't know it before, but like
come on,
120%. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I never wavered. I don't know about you. I never wavered.
Never wavered either.
Man, that was crazy. And he took some very hard shots to him. I think one of the lines he said, "I would be mad too if the company hired my ex too." I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, even Nikki got involved in this one." Dang.
He did just like John Cena do. Nothing's off limits.
He also said, "Why they chant my name? Why they chant you can't wrestle?" Dang.
Yes, he did.
Dang. And then he decided to finish it off with a little Punk is Kendrick Lamar and John Cena is Drake.
That was wild. That was definitely wild.
CM Punk came in the ring like he was Mike Tyson, coming in for a first round knockout.
He did stutter a couple times, but for the most part, I think he did a really good job.
He came in like he was Mike Tyson, looking for a first round knockout, and wasn't playing no games. And that's how SmackDown ended. And it was like, okay, they made Night of Champions a little more interesting because you can go ahead and take that down. That's it for the basic punkonomics moment of the week.
You know, if you had more to add.
No, this is where Triple H. I won't be professional on this one. So Triple H, you're gonna give me a United States Women's title match on SmackDown. You're gonna give me a WWE Tag Team title match on SmackDown, and you're gonna give me a women's standings match for the women's title on SmackDown. On SmackDown. But when we get to Night of Champions, I get to see, even though I love her and her opponent as well, but I get to see Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight.
No championship on the line. At Night of Champions.
Exactly what my partner said. Even though it's great to see him in the ring for once, which shouldn't took you that long to do, but I got to see Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn on Saturday with the name of the show called is Night of Champions.
And last time I checked, neither one of them were champions either.
So if I sound a little disappointed right now, it's because even though I love Rhea Ripley and I love Raquel Rodriguez, and my co-host does too. And even though it was great to finally get Karrion Kross in the ring, because it shouldn't have took this damn long to get him in the ring. Night of Champions. You had those 2 matches on Night of Champions instead of putting the 3 title matches that you had on SmackDown on that card and putting those matches on SmackDown. That's my beef with Triple H.
Right. You can't let the Street Profits be on a PLE, sir. Paul doesn't want that.
Now, let me dive into Night of Champions. Now, I had to get that little frustration out. Now, I'll come to Triple H defense on this one. It is in Saudi Arabia, and I'm pretty sure they asked for Sami Zayn to be on the card.
Well, let them lose another title match somewhere. No, let them lose one.
So they gave him Karrion Kross so Sami Zayn can go over. I was looking forward to Karrion Kross. I wanted Karrion Kross to win that match because I wanted to see Sami Zayn go down a spiral. But they gave Sami Zayn.
Karrion Kross. They weren't gonna let him win that match. They don't respect that dude. They should, but they don't.
It's good to see Rhea Ripley win a match.
Please be done with the Judgment Day. Please. Grief. Be done with each other.
I don't think so, because if what's been circling around the IWC could be that some more dirty tricks could be up the sleeve.
I know. I'm just saying it should be time to be done.
I agree with you.
Move on.
But doesn't look like Paul wants to move on.
Of course, Paul doesn't want to move on.
Just yet.
Son of a sap sucker.
Now, we got those out the way. You ready to get to the juicy stuff now?
Somewhat. Go ahead.
United States Championship. Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. And the return of Tonga Loa. Didn't I tell y'all? They saving Tonga Loa for a return. It happened in Night of Champions. But co-host, this is where I come to you because they had an ace up their sleeve.
They did.
For one, Solo Sikoa, would you like to educate the people on that ace?
Yep. The little brother of the Tongan boys, the God, Hikuleo, he will be known as Talatonga in WWE, which is a trash name, by the way. Talatonga for a tall dude. Come on, man. Could have been like Hikuleo Tonga or something, but Hikatonga. But you go Talatonga, whatever. But yeah, he came in, put in some work, slammed Fatu through the table, helped Solo Sikoa secure the victory and become our new United States champion. We said it would have to be a whole heck of a lot of help for Solo to win. Yeah, there was a whole heck of a lot of help. But there's been dirt. She's been saying this for a while. This was going to happen. But you know how it be. Even when sometimes things were planned, Paul sees that people figured it out and be trying to change everything. So he didn't this time. I give him that. That's all I'm going to give him. I'll give him that.
Solo Army has grown to be even more dangerous now.
Oh, they calling it the Bloodline 3.0, sir.
And matter of fact, they don't even got Tama back yet.
He'll be back too. Is he going to rejoin their side though, or will he go with Jacob?
Jacob is no longer United States champion. Solo says he's coming for everything now. So
That's what
SmackDown,
Vince is.
so SmackDown be rare. Solo is coming back for power. Now we got that out the way. Slide over the King of the Ring. Because Cody Rhodes defeated Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. So it's Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And I think most of us that's in the group chat, we understood where this was going. As soon as Cody Rhodes beat Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes beat Randy Orton. So we got Cody Rhodes and John Cena, supposedly right now. Well, we do for SummerSlam. We think it's too early for have Cody Rhodes to come back at John Cena. But this is the way Paul wanted. We're going to see how this goes. You said Cole Johnson said he smells a double turn coming.
That's what he said.
That'd be interesting. Very interesting. Cody Rhodes, you King of the Ring for 2025. I didn't say Randy Orton was going over. I said they was doing all the old Roberts one last time. They already did Randy Orton and John Cena at Backlash, so I knew Randy wasn't going to win. That's why I thought Jay was going to win.
I said if Cody wins, Randy's going to beat Cody because Paul wants to save QB1 or should want to save QB1 for when he's going to win the match. That's why I said that Randy would go over if he won. So I was remembering Paul the entire time, Mr. Johnson. I'm the one that said that. It wasn't a playmaker. It was me. I was wrong. Paul is doing Paul-ish.
And Cole Johnson must forgot. I went straight into the chat and said, so be doing Cody and Cena at SummerSlam. Right after Cody beat Jey Uso.
Yeah, it was me. Because it doesn't make sense. It's a Tony Khan move.
Now, unlike everybody else, especially that crowd in Saudi Arabia, moment of PLE was the Queen of the Ring. Asuka versus Jade Cargill. Back and forth we go. Asuka and Jay taking shots, kicking out, doing this and that. Until the storm rose to the occasion. By the way, if you say you want Jade Cargill to play Storm in the next X-Men movie without saying you want Jade Cargill to play Storm in that, how did she come out? She came out looking like Storm.
Well, it won't be happening, but
Jade Cargill wins Queen of the Ring. Jade Cargill is going to SummerSlam to challenge for her first ever singles gold in WWE.
I like it.
And that Saudi Arabia crowd, I can't stand y'all for the way y'all treated Jade. Now y'all have struck iron with me. I can't stand y'all for how y'all treated Jade. Like I said, this is Jade's tournament to win, and she won.
I'm never upset when Jade Cargill gets a victory.
Now, we wouldn't have been mad if Asuka would have won. But it's nice. Wouldn't have been mad if Asuka would have won. Wouldn't have been mad. But we wanted Jade to win. And interesting note. Who won the Elimination Chamber?
Elimination Chamber. Who did win? Was that
Bianca Belair won the Elimination Chamber.
Bianca, right? Yeah.
Who won Money in the Bank?
Money in the Bank. I'm trying to remember back to this stuff.
Naomi,
right? Yeah.
And who is Queen of the Ring?
The other triple caked out member of the defunct Triple Cakes. triple caramel cakes. So for y'all that was
The
crying,
big three might not be
about
together, but the
Bianca.
big three are winning.
while y'all was crying about Bianca and her being a tag team champion and stuff, they didn't want y'all to treat Bianca like y'all do Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, they might have broke up the big three, but the big three are winning. At least Paul doing something correct.
I told y'all what Naomi said. Naomi said, "Mother, the big three. It's just big meat."
So how you like them apples?
Yeah, that did play out well. Kind of foreshadowed it too. If you was paying attention.
I don't know, cause there was only a Naomi train. So I say the Oscar train.
Right, but I'm saying they kind of foreshadowed that all this was going to go the way it did if you were paying attention. If you don't pay attention, then what can
but
we do?
the IWC pages is everything.
Do they? Or do they pay attention and believe? Or do they see things and then make whatever they want to be the truth? The truth.
I'm just saying they pay attention to everything.
I'm just asking the question.
So you had Cody Rhodes go over Randy Orton. You had Sami Zayn go over Karrion Kross. You had Solo Sikoa go over Jacob Fatu. You had Jay Cargill go over Oscar. You had Rhea Ripley go over Raquel Rodriguez, which brings us to the main event. The undisputed WWE Championship. As John Cena graces Saudi Arabia for the final time, which means he's not going to be at Crown Jewel when they go back there in November. Hope y'all enjoy John Cena for the last time. Versus a man who finally stepped foot over in Saudi Arabia, CM Punk. We had Pipe Bomb from John Cena. We had Word Life from CM Punk. Now the fun and shenanigans are over. Let's get to the match. It was I'm going to give them this. That was a very clever way to do this match. It was a very clever way to do this match. So they reincarnated things that weren't even part of their rivalry into this match. So we get John Cena gets shoulder tackles the ref, right? Punk don't even know what happened. He hits to go to sleep, and there's no referee. Punk don't know why there's no referee there, because when you ducked out the way of the shoulder tackle, the ref took it, by the way, and fell out the ring. Who music hits? Mr. Money in the Bank music hits Seth freaking Rollins. Strolling down the ramp, taking his sweet time with the goons around him. Paul Heyman holding the briefcase. Well, CM Punk's finna get screwed by Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins is finna reincarnated WrestleMania, was that 30? If I remember correctly. No, WrestleMania 31. 30 was the whole Undertaker partless thing. 31. We finna reincarnate WrestleMania 31. We finna turn this into a triple threat match, and it's finna be a heist of a century. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker do what they need to do to Punk. Seth Rollins calls a ref, and here comes Charles Robinson running down the ramp until he gets blasted by John Cena. And John Cena confronts Seth Rollins. So, what are you doing? How dare you sit here and try to cash in on my match? Give Seth Rollins an AA for his troubles. More chaos ensues. Seth Rollins gives CM Punk the stomp. John Cena throws Seth Rollins over the top rope. The original referee comes to fruition, and then you have a 1, 2, 3. John Cena stays champion. with Seth Rollins looking like the dummies of dummies in the ring. Because John Cena out-menaced Seth Rollins. Very interesting way. Very clever.
I saw some content creators, and they were saying how great of an idea this was and how wonderful this was because everybody came out looking strong. And I beg to differ. As my Cole said, for those of you who got a little bit of age on you, you'll understand this. Seth Rollins came out there looking like Boo Boo the Fool. You got 3 people. You got you and 2 dogs with you, and you got the wise man. And you look dumb. So John Cena knocks out your referee. You don't have a contingent plan of a second referee. WWE got 4 or 5 referees. You only got 1 referee that you can get to come to the ring. Like little stuff, like the small details that Paul just don't care about. Like Paul don't even care. He's just like, whatever. You should have had someone else come out, right? Whoever, and help mitigate the other 2 guys. Then this makes sense. But you had those 2 dudes, and what was they doing while Seth Rollins was getting AA'd and beat up and thrown out of the ring?
Actually, to correct you, sir, Penta came out, and him and Braun Breaker had a moment. And, Braun Breaker got a better him. Then Sami Zayn came out. But there was a hair time coming to Sami Zayn. I don't see one coming soon, to be honest with you.
But I'm saying they didn't come out at first.
No, they didn't come out at first.
That's what I'm saying, sir. In the time that the stuff was happening to Seth, the first set of stuff, they could have mitigated that.
Now, to both of your points, sir, CM Punk is the only guy that can take out Bronson Reed. We couldn't get no LA Knight, no Jey Uso. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
CM Punk pushes Bronson Reed off the table, and John Cena AA's Bronson Reed, and that's how we get rid of Bronson Reed. That was it to both of your point.
Yeah, they didn't put it together, and Braun Breaker should be able to recover pretty fast. Remember, he's supposed to be the dog, and all that. So he should be able to recover fast from, not Jacob Fatu fast, but, pretty fast. So, I mean, I don't like some of the things that, I'll call him Hunter for now. I don't like some of the things he does about the details. Like the outcome, I get it, but he's supposed to be this guy that's been praised and glizzy globbed about how he knows how to do all that. And he comes from the business and he gets it. It seems like the longer he's got on the suit, the more it's just the details just fade. Right? Like if you look at it and you're not looking for details, you're not looking for things that make sense. You're just looking for the sensationalism of what's going on. You're like, oh yeah, it's great. But if you look at those details, you're like, why would you do that? Why would you need to go that way? It should have had to be more people than what was out there to stop those 2 that's supposed to be part of Seth Rollins' omnipotent, powerful faction. What are we doing? Is this they're gonna treat him like Solo Sikoa with Bloodline 2? What is we doing? Are we setting up Seth Rollins to really be the guy with what we're doing with Seth Rollins? Now they're saying that, but does the action speak that? I would have to say after this, no.
It depends on, do they plan on Seth Rollins catching in for the WWE title or the World title?
It doesn't matter which one they have him cashing in on. You don't make the guy with the briefcase look like an idiot when he's supposed to be the guy that's carrying the company forward. That's what I'm saying. Doesn't matter which championship he catches in for. Doesn't matter if he says, hey, guys, y'all take the briefcase and be tag team champions. That's not the point. He's supposed to be the guy, belt or not, that's going to carry the company. Obviously, you want the belt. That's what they're saying is going to make the difference. But just saying, you got to be better with that. Paul!
And that's how Night of Champions have concluded. I guess we can go through the comments one last time before we call it a day and go watch Raw, which is just 5 minutes in. Surprisingly.
All right, I'm going back to the beginning here. We got quite a few. Appreciate y'all tuning in, talking all that. All right, so we'll start with Cole's bi-weekly at least call to arms for Paul. Break the Street Profits up.
Kuma can't stand that comment whatsoever, Cole.
WWE loves Tiffany Stratton, Cole says.
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton survived more stuff than Bronson Reed did.
I'm not surprised Julia claimed the Women's U.S. Championship. Poor storytelling again, but I'm not surprised either. Ron Killings versus Aleister Black. That can be interesting, but that will kill all the Ron Killings momentum. Well, you forget they're calling him R-Truth again, too, so it's already killed his momentum. But I'm not getting into that no more. I'm done. Yolanda says, I'm really pissed off how the fans are doing Jade. That was just brutal to watch. You know why? I ain't got to say it, Yolanda. You know why? John Woodmoss says, sup, dudes? Love is being thrown to you. Hope everyone is safe and happy. Appreciate the love, man.
Appreciate
we are
it.
good. Cole says, it's Tiffy time. 6 months as WWE Women's Champion and counting. John says, I believe in Joe Hendry. Throw that in there for you. Gotta give you that. MC Punk is in the house, Cole Johnson says.
That was great. Oh my god, that was great.
Then he says basic punkonomics was in full effect. Word up. He taking it back to the 80s. Another says I might be a little biased, but CM Punk wins. Hey, when you out there fighting or spitting, your discipline is unforgiving, you gotta win. He has seen the backing up in the defensive position. John says the comedy is off the charts and rightfully so. Ron Killings proves that you can be funny and serious. Comedy always wins. Yep, it'd be nice if he was Ron Killings, but he's R-Truth. So we know he's going to be back to buffoon sooner or later because that's who R-Truth is. Cole says Punk even wore the jorts, and he laughs. 4 rolling on the floor laughing emojis. John then says, it's unfortunate that Punk came out and there was no one in the ring. Invisible men are rarely seen. I know that's right, man. I know that's right. John calls it basic Jordanomics. Word life. It's pretty good one.
That was stupid, man. That joke was crazy.
Cole says, I love the last bar, along with mentioning Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Punk even mentioned Make a Wish as well. Beautiful segment. I watched that thing like 4 times, Cole. I might go watch it again. Cole says, no EO at Night of Champions. Yeah, EO don't defend her championship. She's just a champion. She got that Judgment Day championship defending schedule when they was the tag team champs. Cole says no Dominic Mysterio at Night of
No,
Champions.
he has an injured mustache.
He's injured. They say it's a real injury and they're just using that as a storyline, but they say he actually has a real injury. No Gunther.
Out of all the things they say, mustache, really?
No Gunther and Night of Champions.
Nope. No, they saving him for Atlanta.
Cole says they should have called the PLE King Queen of the Ring. Yes, they should have.
Night of Champions and only 3
Cole
champions.
says Karrion Kross, the modern day Zack Ryder. All I'm gonna say to that, Cole, is woo woo woo. You know it.
That's very disrespectful.
Then goes on to say no New Day and Night of Champions.
No New Day. But they fight the Judgment Day tonight.
Yeah, of course. It's not the PLE. Now they can fight. Cole says Solo is hilarious. He was with the 4 letters, 1 word. Hush. Cole says Hikuleo is a fire name. I knew they would give him a crappy name. Of course they would, sir, because that's what they do.
They have to trademark it.
It had to be so trashy though. Cole says, I don't feel too bad about Jacob losing the title. He's bigger than the United States Championship. I don't really care about that. I just thought, like I said, if he was going to lose it, exactly had to be how he lost it. About 80 people helping. Cole also says, but last week y'all were claiming Randy Orton would go over at NOC again. You forgot about Paul. I already addressed that, but just want to make sure we read that again because I didn't want to be out of that. Yolanda says they should not be anything bloodline when they not all blood. But they're adopted, Yolanda. But I think the only one that isn't, well, Jacob isn't blood. JC Mateo. Jeff Cobb is not blood.
I was like, JC not blood, but the rest of them.
And Tamatonga isn't technically blood. Everybody else is. But he was raised by since he was like a baby, so he's like blood. Cole says the Queen of the Ring match is the match of the night for all the wrong reasons. So I like the Queen of the Ring match. I know everybody want to complain about how Jade was treated and then about the botch. But when people treat you the way that they did, Jade, maybe you do botch a little bit because you were a little jumpy because of how you was, treated. So take that into account when y'all be hating. Take into account what be happening sometimes to put people in certain situations. Well, that's a lot to ask from y'all, but just do that. The IWC wants to strip Jade Cargill of the crown and claim the chick can't wrestle. What do these dummies expect for her to be Ricky Steamboat? You know what? There's a lot of women that started out and they weren't very good. And as they wrestled more and progressed on the card, they got better.
Hey, I give you one. One of my favorite ones. Trish Stratus wasn't good when she first started.
Yeah, I think with Jade too, I think she was doing better, but that crowd probably spooked her a little bit with how they was treating her. So again, you gotta take those things into account. Cole says they need to shed all the way the up. Cole also says Elimination Chamber Bianca, Money in the Bank Naomi, and Queen of the Ring Jade Cargill. And then Yolanda comes sliding at the right moment with the big three. Cole says, so Paul is trying to win favor with the black wrestling community by not having either one of the black tag team championship sets defend their championships at Night of Champions. It's a smart way to do it, Paul. Cole says, I think they're going to give us Io versus Asuka at SummerSlam. Doesn't really matter.
We ain't gonna understand a word them two gonna say.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's gonna be a confusing match. Cole says, and the main event was my match of the night. The misogynistic dopes were totally into Cena versus Punk. Oh, of course. Yolanda says, F the IWC because in my opinion, Becky can't wrestle all that good, and I hate to hear her talk, but they still cheer and support her. WrestleMania 31 Redux. Cole says, Lil Nate's took a beautiful bump. Cole says, I'm not sure about everybody coming out strong. Punk looks superhero strong by surviving 3 AAs. Cena looks strong by being smart and opportunistic. Cole says Ronald looks like anything but a visionary nor a revolutionary Saturday. That'd be my thing. Cole also says, how can Punk recover from 3 AAs, but Big Bronson Reed takes 1 AA and he's out? I wasn't gonna get into all that, but I agree with you.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Cole says Triple H relates to the wrestlers, but he lacks a person who can tell a more cohesive story within a match or a program. I think that's what I was saying too, but mine was way more barbaric. So I appreciate you putting that in more calm terms, sir. Kudos. All right, good people. It is 6:13. If you are catching the replay of this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Y'all know what it is. Make sure you tell at least 4 people, 2 that you think are your friends, and 2 you know ain't. They'll like us even if they may not like you. Why? Because it's us. And also, never forget, never where you start is always where you finish. Your boys will be back next week. Again, shout out Real Wise Radio as well. Your boys will be back next week, regular time, 6:30 p.m. We'll be talking about 6 p.m. Raw,
And by
pre-tape
the way,
SmackDown, and all that.
SmackDown is back to 2 hours. SmackDown
Yes,
is back to 2
SmackDown.
hours.
Yes. Going forward, it will be 2 hours from now. So it means less commercials. No, they do too many matches anyway. Triple H treated like a PL even half the time anyway, but it's a whole nother story. All right, good people. We'll get at you. We'll see you next week. Got stuck again. No, we really had this time. We really had this time. Live be wildin'.